It's still noisy in here, so it's hard to tell. Hey, look at that.
That's better.
You go to conferences a lot of times, and it doesn't take a lot of noise to make people be quiet. Like it goes, shh. And it gets very quiet. It's very nice. Welcome, everybody. Glad you're here. Hopefully you can pick something up from this today that'll save you a lot of money. Scammer avoidance. Curious, how many of you have fallen victim to a scammer?
How about my husband?
Well,
He should be here.
where is he?
Yeah.
You outside, John. I'm glad you're here, and this will prevent you from doing that. Bridget, when we got here, thought it would be clever to put a flyer out called the Computer Cowboy. She threw me under the bus, and I found out last night that one of these flyers got down to, what's that park? Southern Comfort. And it's the big Encore Park on 18th and Airport. And I don't know who took that over there, but I'm watching it. I'm watching. Any volunteers? All right. So, anyhow, hopefully you brought something you can take notes. There's going to be a lot of material covered in this. I'm recording it also, and I'll put it up as a YouTube video. There were some people who wanted to see it who weren't able to make it today, but let's get it going. So, FTC puts up some stats for how many people have been scammed from last year. This is just last year, and it's gone up every year significantly. Scammers will do anything they can to relieve you of your money, and the tricks are plenty. Down in the bottom it says total lost, and this is just social media, $1.2 billion. That's a lot of money. So there's a reason they do this, and that's because it's profitable. And if they get caught, they do go to prison. There are some folks that may have made it their life's mission to catch these people. They're hackers. They can hack into their systems. They can find out exactly where they're at. Most of them are in India. And then they report it. India has an actual task force that will go into these scam centers and arrest them, shut them down in a big hurry. They put a link up here, the FTC scam stats. If you're really interested, you want to look more at this, it's on the FTC website. Said that consumers lost nearly $8.8 billion in 2022. So that's a lot of money. I don't have that much. I'll probably never see that much. And it's one of the things to keep in mind. If it seems too good to be true, and this is going to be the theme of this thing, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. We've all heard that most of our lives. You got to really be careful. Some of the tactics they use online, and that's the biggest one, pop-ups that'll come up on your computer. You got to really be careful with what you download on your computer. A Trojan, everybody knows what a Trojan horse is. It carried all the people into Troy and they attacked them. Trojan does the same thing. It comes in, it piggybacks off of a software program or application, games. A lot of times it's off of the games. And what it does is it puts it's called malware, M-A-L-W-A-R-E. Good name, good word to remember. There is software out there that you can install. It's free. You can put it on your computer. It's called Malwarebytes. And if you wind up with something, it'll actually look for it on your computer and it will isolate it and get rid of it for you. What you'll see a lot of times in the pop-ups, and it's asking for personal information. They want you to log into something or go into some website, but they'll pose as the IRS. Some of the scams that are IRS, they will tell you, and this is on a phone more than it is online, but they will tell you that if you don't respond to them, the police will be at your house in 45 minutes. Urgency is what they try to send a little urgency in there so that you will take care of it right away. If somebody tells you that, hang up right away. Don't even bother with them, because you know, that's the biggest one. And a lot of times the Microsoft tech support, they want access to your computer because you have some software on your computer that's dangerous, and that's one of the big scams online. They want access to your computer. Never give anybody access to your computer, especially if it's somebody that you don't know. There are special instances you can do that, but never ever. I'll get to that a little bit more. Text messages is another one that I see them all the time. They come up with a phone number that you might think is legitimate, and they're not. They're not legitimate. You can go into Google and you can do Google Voice, and you can set a phone number in there for whatever area code you want. It may look like a legitimate number, but it's not. And they want you to call them or text them, or somebody's in trouble and they want you to help them. So, you know, those are best if you just ignore them. And snail mail, those have been around. Snail mail, for those who don't recognize the term, it's stuff that goes in your mailbox. So, terms have been around for a while, and you just want to avoid that. So how do you protect yourself from these scammers? Be alert to the fact that they do exist. Definitely do exist. When dealing with uninvited contacts from people or businesses, whether it's over the phone, by mail, email, in person, or on a social networking site, always consider the possibility that the approach may be a scam. Remember, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. Scam that ran around for a while through email it looked legitimate, looked like it was coming from somebody you know, and said that they're in another country generally, and they lost their passport and they need $2,500 or something like along those lines to get their passport back or to get out of the country. A lot of people fell prey to that. Just really be careful and know where the information is coming from. Know who you're dealing with. If you've only ever met someone online or are unsure of legitimacy of a business, take some time to do a bit more research. Google image search, has anybody used Google image search? Google Lens? Young people know about this one. A lot of times you can put Google Lens and you can check photos, you can see if something is actually legitimate, but research it. I see businesses that'll pop up occasionally that are trying to do something, and the information they're looking for sounds really questionable. And all they're doing is looking for your contact information or something else along those lines, but you can always do a Google search on the business. The web addresses, you can check the web address too and do research on that. Messages or emails come from friends. It may seem unusual or out of character. I got one yesterday. A friend of mine got her Facebook account hacked, and my cousin's wife. And it just didn't look legitimate. It says, I saw you in this video, or saw somebody you know in this video. Never ever click those links in those, and just be aware too, if you try to reply to the text message, to that message that comes through, especially on Facebook, you're just replying back to the scammer. So keep that in mind, and you get links in your messenger in particular, don't click on them unless you know exactly where it came from, something you asked for typically. So don't open suspicious texts, pop-up windows, or click on links or attachments in emails. A lot of times the email, you might think it's coming from a legitimate source. I think you can see that. This is an email I got the other day. It looks like it's from Amazon Prime, right? It's got the Amazon Prime logo down there. One of the things that's missing, it says hello. Amazon will send you a text like this. It's going to say hello with whatever your name is, Mr. Stout or Brian or whatever. But where I have it circled up there, typically if you open your emails up to where you can see, I have a preview pane open on mine, and this works in both Outlook and Gmail, and I think I checked Yahoo the other day and it does the same thing there, but you can see the address, the email address that the email came from. And you can see that is not Amazon. It's from blah, 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 blah. ShrijiTraders.co, which is not in this country even. So
hey Brian, when you do that, oftentimes you'll just say the name, and isn't there just like an arrow that you have to click on to see what the email address is it came from?
not anymore.
Okay.
They have it set up now that that will show up. There is a little arrow that you can click where you can see something from you, but if it's questionable, especially if they're asking for money, and this one's asking for money, it's a small amount, $14.99, no big deal, right? However, you reply to it and they get back in touch with you. They'll try to get access on your computer, and they will, more than likely in their scheme of things, they will try to take control of your computer by you letting them, and they'll get into your bank, they'll get into a lot of other things. I remember who I was talking to yesterday that one of the scams that they do is that they will access or have you open up your bank account on your computer. They can see it, and what they will do is deposit money in your bank, supposedly deposit money in your bank, and it's too much. It's more than what they were actually saying, so they might tell you that they're putting $500 back in your bank, and they will change it to make it look like you can do it through the source code for the page. You can go in there and you can change it to any amount you want. And usually what they do is add a couple zeros at the end of it, so it looks like you have received $20,000 from them instead of the 500 or whatever. And then they'll tell you that you either have to take cash to a certain place, and it's a mule. We all know mules, we're close to the border. A mule is somebody who transports stuff that they shouldn't be transporting. And they'll try to get the money that way, or have you go get gift cards. Karen?
We were trying to sell our motorhome a while back. We had it out front. We also were selling it online, and we got this comment back. And the guy kept referring to it as being a car. And then he was going to say, well, he'll send us a check, and then we can go ahead and cash it at the bank, and then have to send money back to him because they were going to come and get it, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
So when he sent the check, we let him send the check because we knew it was a scam. Sent the check, and we took it to the Better Business Bureau here. And some of the thing of the writing on the check, you could tell that, it's not legit, for one thing. And we took it to the TV station too, and they came out and talked on the TV about it. And the Better Business Bureau said that check, if it had been cashed, gone through, and then we would have lost all the money because it would have come out of our bank account. And also they said that money was being used to finance Nicaragua.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a big scam. I haven't seen it in a while. It used to be on Craigslist. They'll send you a response and tell you that if you will, I'll send you a cashier's check. And I actually got one of these ones.
I still got it.
$2,500. Send me a $2,500 cashier's check. And I'm like, this doesn't look right. I took it to the bank and asked if they could check it and see if it was legitimate. And what they had told me is that same check was a copy, and they had tried to cash this several times. And what they're doing is they're trying to get your money. That's what this is all about, scams. So there's a lot of shady people out there that'll do this stuff. So don't respond to phone calls, Bridget.
Question in the back.
Question in the back?
Would you mind restating the question into the mic, please, also?
Yes.
I have had problems with paying my DirecTV bill. back in September, when I paid my bill, which I called their automatic pay service and authorized the payment of that month's bill, and then they go back to the bank and get the money from the bank. What was happening was that after I would pay the bill for the month, then somebody was calling in and making more payments at smaller amounts, usually $100 increments. But sometimes there'd be as many as 5 or 6 of these extra payments. And when DirecTV then would go back to my bank, and the bank would say, well, no, this isn't legitimate. And then they would add non-payment service fees onto my DirecTV account. And when I finally caught up about it and got somebody who was willing to check on the history of this, it seems like there were something like 20 different extra payments which I wasn't aware of. And I mean, they eventually canceled the bank charges that they were going to charge me for, but I think it's still going on. And you said that so many of these scam things are coming out of India. One complaint I have about DirecTV is if you call and get somebody, usually it's somebody with an Indian accent.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that it's coming from their side. But I don't feel secure now in paying my bill.
Yeah, everybody hear what Nancy was saying? So it's one of the ways that they will try to get into your accounts and get your money from you. Most web addresses are pretty simple. DTV, I think, is a .com. But if you miss a letter, add a letter, these scammers know that. They figured it out. I have a friend up in Toronto who said that he was trying to sign up for Amazon Prime. And he didn't go to the Amazon website. He went to what he thought would be the right website. I think it was prime.com or something like that. And made a payment for, I think he said it was $175, which is more than what Prime cost at that time. Well, in America anyways, I don't know about Canada, but anyway, they called him up, and he was fortunate that he gave him access to his computer, which he shouldn't have done, number one, and he was fortunate in that he had an old Mac computer that they couldn't access. So, because the technology was too old, it wouldn't work what they were doing. So if you go online, I mean, I pay all my bills online. I feel secure in doing that. There are ways to make sure that the page is secure, and we'll get to that here in a minute. But yeah, when they call you up too, and they try to get on to your website or to your computer, no, that's a red flag, number one. They want access to your computer? Absolutely not. You don't do that. Hang up the phone, and if it's Microsoft, then you call Microsoft and say, hey, somebody said I have a problem with my computer, and make sure it is Microsoft you're calling. There's 3 applications I know of that they'll ask you to install on your computer. They'll give them control. TeamViewer is the big one, and TeamViewer's gotten smart to it. I've used TeamViewer for years, so I could access my computers remotely. But TeamViewer's, they've gotten smart about it, and it's funny is because TeamViewer is the way that a lot of these hackers will get access to the scammers' pages, to their network actually. There's a couple of the guys that will get in there, they'll download all the scammed people, so they've got their information, call them, the ones they can, and let them know that they've been scammed, and then delete every single file on their computer. And there's a way they lock them, they can lock the computer too, so that they can't even access their own computers. But, TeamViewer is the biggest one. Beyond Trust and GoTo, those three are the main players in that. So don't, if somebody tells you to install those, don't do it. Just don't do it. Bad idea. Keep your personal details secure. For those of you who have mailboxes, we don't really have an option here. You can put a lock on your mailbox. You can shred your bills. Make sure you shred your bills and other important documents. They will dig through the trash to find your important information. Keep your passwords and PIN numbers in a safe place, and be sure, be careful about how much personal information you do share on social media. So if you, and that's one of the big things too, is if you go on vacation or you're traveling, don't put that on social media. People go, oh, guess what? They're out of town. Freebie, I'm going now. So, you know, great, you want to put your vacation pictures on social media, do it when you get home. But yeah, don't tell anybody when if you're gone, you know, and have somebody look at your house, keep an eye on your house for you. Scammers can use pictures even to create a fake identity. How many of you have had a cloned account on Facebook? You know what a cloned account means?
A lot more of you people than.
Yeah, cloned account is basically they'll take your profile picture, your background picture, they'll create a new account and send a friend request to all your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are on that message page too.
Yeah, yeah. You'll get,
Hello, how are you?
yeah, they'll come up on your messenger. Leslie?
Oh, I've had a lot of surgeons that are widowed that have friended me. There's a little trend going on there.
Yes.
Wait, I already dated that guy.
Uh-huh. So if you're already friends with somebody and they send you a friend request, you might reach out to them, not through Messenger, but reach out to them and ask if they have started a new Facebook account. Because what that is they call it farming. What they're doing, and farming and fishing, these two terms, they don't start with F, they start with PH. So you'll see this term used as farming and fishing. What they're doing is they're sending information out, trying to get access. My page, my web page, everything I post is public. I don't have anything to hide on there, so everything I post is public. However, my security settings, you can't see my friends unless you're my friend. And that's always a good thing, is because what they'll do is they'll send friend requests to all your friends, and then once they've got that, they'll try to get their information as well. So it's called farming. So basically, they're trying to get all that info. So yeah, if you have somebody starts an account, sends you a friend request, and it just has a profile picture and the background picture, you'll look down through the post on there. That's all you see. The top right on a computers, anyhow, I think on the phone's the same thing. You can report the profile, and that's always a good idea. Report it to Facebook as somebody pretending to be your friend. It comes up, it says pretending to be someone, and you can just say a friend, and then you tell which friend it is, and they'll reach out to them and check it for you. One of the ladies I've helped a couple of times down here that she let somebody have access into her computer, and they got in. Fortunately for her, she only had a few passwords on her computer, but they stole all of her password information from her Google settings and locked her out of all of her accounts. And when her Facebook account, she couldn't get back into that anymore either, because she couldn't get their email to retrieve it. It was a mess. And what she wound up doing, she created a new Facebook profile. And I think what happened is that because people were already her friend and they saw the new profile, they figured it was a fake, and they reported it. And that profile got locked up. And I think she's still locked out of Facebook. So you just really be careful about what information you provide and folks. Here's the big one, and I see most of you do this. Keep your mobile devices and computer secure. How many of you here have a password or a thumbprint or something on your phone? I don't see a lot of hands going up, and you know why? It's easier, right? It's just easier to get into your phone. I have a lot of confidential information on my cell phone. It has to be unlocked either with a thumbprint or a PIN code. I would suggest if you don't have that set up, it's a good idea to do it. I know it's kind of a pain to try and get back in your phone if you've got to put in a password or a PIN, but protect yourself. You get onto some open Wi-Fi's, and that Wi-Fi, they can actually get to your information to your phone, get into the background of it, even from the Wi-Fi system. So you've got to really be careful about what you do with that. And so choose your passwords carefully. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't stress this too much. I've changed a lot of my mom's old passwords. I've gone back through because she was using Lilac, which is not a good password to use. If you use common words, common names, numbers, your birth date, things like that, good idea to change your password. I was looking this morning, I have about 800 passwords on my phone, and use uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and special symbols. That's not cussing down at the bottom, those are special symbols, so in case you're wondering about that down here. So, and not, use them all in the same password. There are free password generators you can get out there, and basically you click a button and it'll make a password for you. They're not going to be easy to remember passwords, but they will be secure. Guaranteed they'll be secure. Okay, question? Okay. Review your privacy and security settings on social media. I was going to do something on this a little bit more in depth, but this is a whole presentation in itself because there's a lot of things, especially on Facebook. If you go back into the settings in your Facebook and you can go under privacy, you want to make sure that you have that set to minimal access to your information and to your page. Bridget, you had a question?
Yeah, is it worth, I know that you do there's a cloud storage for all your passwords. Is that worth it?
It is to me, because of the number of passwords I have. But then you want to make sure that your strongest password is going to be the one for that password program. I have an application on my computer that I can access all my passwords remotely, and that's my strongest password is that one. It's the only one I have to remember for most of it, but it's pretty safe. Diane?
How do you know what is a safe cloud storage space to use?
There are a couple of them. LogMeOnce is reputable. LogMeOnce. LogMeOnce is the name of the application. There's a free option for it. It'll remember all your passwords. You have to log into it to get to the passwords. But that's the one I use. Another one that I used to use, but I forgot what it's called. The LogMeOnce is free. For the most part, you can buy a paid version of it, but it is free.
Is that LogMe?
LogMe once. ONCE. LogMeOnce. Sue?
Yeah, when I had the last update, iPhone said it would be good to have a Face ID of you. And I do have the PIN as well. Is it good to have the face one?
No.
You know, it brings a whole lot of questions because inside, if they ever got to me and it was the wrong person, if I was in an accident and thought, oh, this is an accident to be happening, and then they know my face and then they can do some more searches and
I don't have a lot of confidence in facial recognition stuff because anybody that looks similar to you would have access. That's, thumbprint, nobody's going to copy your thumbprint, your fingerprint. That's unique to you. And unless they've got your digits, they're not getting into your phone.
Well, if I had a facial ID, I'd be in trouble because I got a black eye. It wouldn't show up.
Surprisingly, it's still recognized. What it looks at is key points on your face, like your cheekbones, your chin, your ears, eyebrow. So it looks at a lot of different spots to check that.
When I ran in a change of password, the Microsoft would come up and say, do you want to save this password up there in the little corner? Is that a good thing to do there, to save it there?
I do it.
In the cloud or what?
Yeah, I do it mainly because I know that, and it's, I don't know about Microsoft, but Google, I can access my passwords from anywhere that way, whether it's on the laptop or on my cell phone. But I have my phone and my laptop are locked. If I'm not using them, they're locked. You're not getting into them. I can promise that. Bridget hates the passwords that I use because they're too hard to remember.
And for the record, I use one, just so you know, on all my stuff.
Okay, she's getting spammed now, so. Anybody else? Okay. Privacy settings on not just social media, but also check them on your, especially Google accounts. You can check your privacy settings. And if you ever want help with any of this stuff, just let me know. I'm here. I'll be here all year. Beware of any request for your details in money. And we kind of talked about that a little bit already, is the people trying to get access into your accounts or your phone or whatever. Don't send money, give credit card details. And it's, that's not always a guarantee either. When we were back in Washington, I got a message from, Amazon Music, not Amazon, Apple Music. Yeah, it said that I downloaded $300 and some odd worth of music, and I'm like, no, I did not. And I looked, and what they did is they've got a random number generator. They're looking for a credit card that will work. A lot of places now use the CVV code on the back in combination. The bank I was with, or Apple Music back at that time, wasn't asking for that or an expiration date on the card or anything else. And it was a bunch of rap music. I hate rap. I don't want to offend anybody, but I hate rap. I have a theory that it was called something else and nobody would listen to it, so they dropped the C off the beginning of the word. That's my view.
I agree with you.
And so I don't download. I went and had a little conversation with the bank about it, and they weren't very kind, so I went and got a different bank, but they did refund my money. Don't agree to transfer money or goods, and I think somebody mentioned this. This is part of what that Craigslist scam is a laundering. They're trying to move money to get money. So if somebody's asking you to do that or to hold money for you, just don't do it. If it's a friend, that's one thing, but if it's somebody you don't know, I don't care if it's $1 million, don't do it. It's illegal, you'll end up in federal prison. Be wary of unusual payment requests. Scammers will often ask you to use an unusual payment method, including preloaded debit cards. iTunes cards are a big one. Bitcoin, if you don't know what Bitcoin is, good. Don't mess with it. It was fine years back if you got into it early and you made a bunch of money on it, but it's a good way to get scammed. A lot of times what the scammers will do, if they've gotten hold of you, gotten into your computer, they'll ask you to leave the computer on, go to the store, and get gift cards, iTunes cards or Walmart cards or whatever, and it's usually in large increments. But they want you to stay on the phone with them. If that ever comes up, just click hang up. Just hang up, and you report this stuff too. So be careful when shopping online. And there's a big one. HTTPS is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. That's all that needs to be on there, HTTP, for a website to work, in most cases. If it does not have the S at the end of it, and you can see that, next picture, this one. Now, if it doesn't have the S and that lock, it's not a secure site, don't do anything on that site that requires money. So it's just making sure that you have that security in there. If I buy something online from someplace that I'm not that familiar with, if they don't accept PayPal, I won't buy from them. Facebook has gotten really bad about putting ads in their pages, and typically, if it sounds too good, it probably is. My mom had looked at a scooter on Facebook, and they were wanting pennies on the dollar for this thing, and I know, I said, don't do that. So PayPal is good because what they have safety and security set up in there so that if it is a scam, you get your money back. So most, if not all, the scams will not use PayPal for a payment option. There was something I was looking at the other day that the ad said they accept PayPal. I got onto their website because it was something really nice and it didn't cost a lot. You get down to the payment part of it and no PayPal. And I said, bye. I won't mess with it. So this is PayPal's protection you need, peace of mind you deserve. It says keeping your financial information secure is absolutely essential in buying online, whether it's e-commerce, sending money, or buying with debit and credit cards online. Trust PayPal to keep your transactions secure, and they give you their entire security profile in there. So it's a nice way to do it. Granted, their website's not very good because I can't read that. I have a degree in webmaster technology, and that's one of the things you don't do is put white over white. So you can't read it. So, and if you want that, there's the web address is right here, and it's a long one, but you can just type PayPal security, and it'll take you right to that page. So use secure sites and look for that little padlock. That little padlock's not on there, just keep browsing, okay? So never give your password, PIN number, or bank account number. Use legitimate companies and banks. They'll never ask. Legitimate companies and banks will never ask for these details by email or over the phone. It's one of the big ones you used to hear. I haven't got the phone call in a while. It said my social security number's been canceled. Anybody ever had their social security number canceled? It'll never happen. I promise you. It will never happen. If you're out and about and buying online, use data provided by your network provider. So if you've got data service with your cell phone or your internet, use that. If you're in like a hotel and you're using their Wi-Fi, disconnect before you make any kind of transactions. So hotspots, if you're using somebody else's hotspots, and I'm getting a symbol of crazy.
The Wi-Fi here, well, besides that, the Wi-Fi here is public.
Yes.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi here in the park is public as well. So we have our own service through Verizon, which is very nice. We have an ultra-wideband, 5G ultra-wideband tower out here for Verizon. So if you're looking at that, it's a good option.
Yep, I'm in agreement.
Yeah. We can run both TVs, laptops, tablets, cell phones, whatever off of that one little tiny box all the time. So use credit cards and secure payment services instead of debit cards. Most of your credit card companies will guarantee the transactions, so you're less likely to be out the money. Debit cards, banks will say, sorry, you used your debit card, and that's the same as writing a check. Bridget?
What's your thoughts on things like, or speak on Venmo, Cash App,
Yeah, I had a question on that too.
that kind of stuff?
Great options. Venmo in particular, Venmo is a partner with PayPal. So if you use Venmo, it's a great option. Square is another great one. So a lot of the businesses you go into now are using Square for payment. They got a little computer that you run the card through and you can sign with your finger. Very secure. All of these are, what's the other one, Bridget?
There's Clover, and then the one I just saw the other day is called Meal Ticket or something like that. I just ran into a new one the other day.
Yeah,
There's
the
Zelle.
What?
Zelle.
Zelle.
Zelle's a good one.
Zelle and Venmo are the big
Cash
ones,
App.
and those
Cash
are the
App
ones.
is good.
Cash App, yeah, maybe.
Canadians-
I don't know enough about it.
Canadians can't use, I know Canadians can't use Venmo, but they can use PayPal.
Right.
So.
What else? Diane?
Is Zelle with 2 L's?
Yes.
LLE.
Yeah, some banks don't allow it. I know WECO in Washington doesn't use Zelle, but the bank down here does. But everybody accepts Venmo. Haven't had any problem with that. If you're transferring money, use reliable firms. Don't try to transfer, hey, Dick, can you put this in the bank for me? Really not a good idea. Never transfer or receive money for someone else. We talked about that a little bit. That is money laundering, and they can get you in all kinds of hurt. Check sites' privacy and return policies. A lot of times you go on a website and you'll get a little pop-up that says that they have no certificate or certificate has been revoked. Those websites don't, if that comes up, don't even go there. We have, sometimes it's okay, but usually not. There's a website that I manage for a friend that has a recording business that he didn't sign up for it correctly as a secure site, and it's difficult to get into it because that certificate announcement comes up. So watch for that stuff and just be wary when you get onto those. If it's not somebody you know, I wouldn't go onto it. Print a copy of your order. Always have your order information, where it came from. It should have an address on it, a return address. It should have an order number and some other type of acknowledgement on it. Hopefully, that when you're buying stuff from someplace online, they have 2 things, big important things: a local number, not just an 800 number, a local number and an address that you can call, and those still are even guarantees. You can have an address that is actually an empty lot that they will use. Check your bank statement carefully against anything you buy online. Make sure that it's the amount that you buy for, not more. And if it comes up more, report it to the bank and try to contact the company just to make sure. Keep your passwords secure. I can't emphasize that too much. A lot of people, how many of you have a notebook or something that you keep all your passwords in? Keep it with you. Don't put it in a safe if you're not carrying it with you. Keep it someplace where somebody else can't get hold of it, or in your head. For some of us, that's not a good place to keep them because they go in and go back out.
Yeah, right here.
Bridget?
Why do you say that like you hate me? Anyway, with Brian and I know his master passcode into LogMeIn once. I couldn't remember one of his passwords if you paid me $9 million, but I have his master passcode to get into the LogMeIn once so I can access, if God forbid,
She kills me.
anything happens. If anything unexpected happens to Brian, God forbid, I can access all his access all his information, and he can access mine. He knows where see, I used to have the same belief there. It's all safely locked up in my steel sieve right here.
Yeah.
But he knows where all of my passwords are in my little notebook. So make sure that one of your loved ones knows where your password book is, because otherwise it makes really a lot of.
Bridget's are on sticky notes on her laptop screen. So,
Like when I put the last 4 digits on a password on the back of my debit card.
Yeah.
I just did that until I learned the
oh,
password.
God.
I thought it was a tattoo.
It was that until they made me change it.
Uh-huh. many of you sold something online? Either Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist? And how many of you got a reply back that we will send somebody to pick that up for you and then we'll deposit the money in your account? Or something along those lines. Yep, they will do it and don't do it.
Yeah.
If you haven't got the money in hand, not happening.
Well, I had one, it was just $50, but it sat there in that marketplace account and it sat there and I kept emailing him going, when do you want to pick it up? When do you want to pick it up? It never happened. I finally just had to send the money back to him because I was not going to transfer it into my account.
Yeah. Marketplace is on Facebook. So if you can buy stuff, Facebook kind of took off from Craigslist does, and you can buy and sell on Marketplace. If you buy something on Marketplace, always look at the seller's profile. How long have they been on Facebook? Are they legitimate? You can see that stuff on their profile. If they have a profile that has absolutely nothing in it, keep on looking because they're just out to steal your money. So, any more questions on that? All right. So how do you protect yourself from online scams? Kind of make sure any websites that you use are secure. Reliable website starts with the HTTPS and have that little lock on there. Once the page is loaded, make sure the website address that you entered hasn't changed to a slightly different spelling. Huge, because a lot of times what they will do is they'll buy up, you can buy a web address. So you don't have to have a website associated with it, you can buy a web address, and what you can do on the back end of that is you can direct that address someplace else. So it doesn't have to send you to wherever you put it in. Use safe and secure Wi-Fi connections. And if you're logging into a Wi-Fi, I use Wi-Fi range extenders. And I can change the password on that. It keeps my Wi-Fi information pretty secure. Keep your virus protection software up to date. How many of you have or don't have some type of virus protection software on your laptop or computer? You do too. There are free ones out there, but everybody knows of Norton and McAfee. Yeah, I don't use McAfee.
Yeah.
I don't like either.
VCmatic.
Yeah, AVG is a nice one. It's free. It doesn't use up a lot. Kaspersky is another one that's free. It doesn't use a lot of your resources. It's kind of annoying at times, but don't depend strictly on Windows Defender. All of your laptops, Windows computers come pre-installed with that. You want to get that for me?
Are the free ones just as good as the paid?
Yes, they are. They keep them updated and they have all information. Bridget said, don't use the same password for multiple accounts, because once they've got into one, they can get into every single account you have. So use different passwords. I think I'm just as guilty of it. I don't use it for every account, but I do use it for multiple accounts, certain passwords. Sue?
Yeah. How about the username? I got a variety of them. I just didn't know, but you gotta get through the password. Is that correct? before they get into
Username's
you?
simple, it's, yeah. But the
Okay,
password,
got it.
they gotta get through the password to get into your account, so.
Right, okay, cool. Just making sure I didn't know if there was anything about that. Okay.
Doing these things won't keep you safe all the time. Scammers are getting more and more inventive in the ways they will lie to you to relieve you of your money. So just a lot of this is mostly try to do as much as you can to protect yourself. And the more you do, the safer you will be.
I just want to reiterate something
Mhm.
that is very important that I noticed because I usually use something online every month to pay my bills. And I got an email saying that my bill is due on such a date. I'm going, okay. Because what I didn't like is this company never uses their website, HTTPS. Well, it had HTTPSS. And not only that, on .com, they spelled it C-O-M-M. You've really got to start looking at details, folks.
Yeah.
There is, I can't reiterate any of that, but I'm young enough, I've been checking this stuff, so I'm gonna reiterate what you told earlier, because it's starting up.
Karen?
I was gonna say, another thing you gotta watch out for is if you go online and order something and they say it's free, just pay for shipping, don't do it. Because what happens is you pay for shipping and then they turn around and they start charging you monthly charges on a particular item after you get it. And it says, canceled by 14 days. Well, you don't get it in 14 days, you get it like 16 days. And then you try to get your money back and you try to send stuff back and you can't do it. And it's really catches you because I got it caught and I talked to other people that, oh yeah, we tried that too. It's like you try something like a cream or something, it's free, just pay shipping. Don't do it.
So what Karen was saying is that if you buy stuff online and it says the product is free, just pay shipping. A lot of times the shipping is a lot more than what that product is worth. And you can have the problem of actually having them, they've got access to your account at that point and they can continue to charge it. And that's why it's important to use PayPal, especially on a site that you're not familiar with. So just to kind of wrap things up, 4 basic signs of a scam. Scammers pretend to be from a familiar organization or agency like the Social Security Administration. They may email attachments with official looking logos, and this one I showed you for that Amazon Prime. That was an Amazon Prime logo. I recognize it, but it's not from Amazon. Seal signatures or a picture of an employee, credentials. I can make anything in Photoshop. You'd be surprised at what I can do. Scammers mention a problem or a prize. They may say your Social Security number was involved in a crime or ask you for your personal information to process a benefit increase. No. Scammers pressure you to act immediately. They may threaten you with arrest or legal action. Kind of talked about that a little earlier. Scammers tell you to pay using a gift card, prepaid debit card, cryptocurrency, which is Bitcoin, wire or money transfer, or by mailing cash. And they may also tell you to transfer your money to a safe account. And no such thing. Your safe account is your account. Don't let them have it. Ignore scammers, hang up on them, delete the emails, stay off of their websites if you can, and report it. Report Social Security related scams, especially to the Social Security Administration Office of the Inspector General. This, I don't know if you can see this, it's OIG, if you've got something you want to write it down, oig.ssa.gov/scam-awareness/report the scam. And a lot of these things you can just log into internet and you can search for them. So, something else I was going to say, and it's gone. I think it left the room. Bridget?
One of the things that I think it's important to mention, and I had to split for a second, and if you did mention it, when I get a phone call on my cell phone, this is common, because we get it a lot, and you say, hello, and then you got dead air for a second, and then what they say. First thing I want to tell you is they're recording your voice. So if I say, hello, and they say, is this Bridget? I say yes. They've now got me recorded saying yes, and now they can put that on anything that they want.
Joe, catch that?
Huh?
Did everybody catch that?
So when I say good afternoon or hello, you better pay attention to this, Joe. When I say good afternoon or hello and I hear dead air, click. Don't say a word, don't say, I'm gonna report you, don't say, yeah, this is Bridget, don't say, hello, goodbye, have a nice day, nothing, just simply hang up. And if it's important and it's somebody serious, and if it's really the Social Security Administration, I assure you they'll call back. And also turn up your spam filters on your phone.
They got a deal in Canada where you they got a deal in Canada where you live in any city or town, the police will phone you, and the scam will phone you and say, you want to come in and do up this money right now, or we're sending the police officer out to arrest you.
Yep.
And you'll be brought in, so you send this money to this right now, or go online and do it. And we just have a direct line to the police station, and they just, they get into it right away.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah.
But most places on our phones, or on my gal phone here, it's a scam. It says right on the computer, scam. You just leave it.
Right.
Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
touch it.
So that's what I had. If anybody have any questions? Anybody else? Lauren? Yes.
How secure is, see, I got financial institutions, I have second, what do you call it, ID, where they send you a 6 or 5 6-letter word, a number code, you enter that, and they'll call your number.
Yes, those are secure. Be careful though, if you get a text message from somebody saying, I need your Google code. It's a Google voice code. What they will do, that basically gives them permission to duplicate your phone number. And they will do is they'll use your phone number to call people, and that's how they get access to people, is because they're pretending to be you. So if you get something ever that says, I need your Google code to verify this, delete it. Don't do anything with it. Don't click on it. Don't just delete it. I've sold stuff online, and that's how they say, you want to verify that this is a legitimate transaction, so I need your Google code to verify it. Don't do it. That's like giving somebody your password. Don't do it. Bridget?
Put that in the, you keep doing that. I'm gonna put that, what you just said, in context. I was trying to access my business email account, and my business partner owns the email account. So I'm trying to set I got a new phone, trying to set my new business email up on my phone. They sent him a code that said, somebody's trying to access your Gmail account. And I called him, I'm like, send me the damn code. He says, oh, it was you trying to access. I said, yeah, well, it was on Pacific time, so it was like 2 o'clock in the morning his time. So I literally still haven't got it set up. So 2-factor verification is one thing. That's okay to give your code and put your code in. But if it's somebody random and you're not trying to access a different email or something like that, that's not okay.
Yeah, Bridget mentioned 2-factor verification. If you're comfortable enough using your phone and you have a lot of accounts that you want to keep secure, turn on the 2-factor verification. That way it's got to be your password, your information, and they will send you a text message that will have a code on it as well for further verification. If you get a message from a phone number for that, delete it.
Yeah.
They come from a 5-digit code number. That's where it will come from. It's a short code, and they will. That's legitimate that way. To get into the Social Security Administration's website, they always send. It's always 2-factor verification. I got to sign in, and then they send a code to me. So.
And then you've gone deeper.
Do you need an antivirus on your phone then, and if so, what?
I have one on mine, but it's provided by Verizon. Most cell companies do provide the, what do they call it now? Now, forgot what it's called. It's
I've got T-Mobile.
Digital Secure is Verizon's version of it. And most cell companies do have it. I think T-Mobile should have it as well. Might check on your phone, but a lot of
Malware bites.
Malware Bytes is another one. I think I mentioned that. Put it on your computer, you put it on your phone, and that way if you wind up getting a Trojan on there, you've got an easy way to get rid of it. So, but, Chuck?
Yeah, what about these companies that supposedly protect your people getting on, finding your social security number? And like, I know Discover has one where they keep an eye out where somebody's using your social security number or what have you online somewhere.
Yeah, there's a few of them. Credit Karma is a good one. They have a watchdog set up for that. So if your social security number is being used, something that looks suspicious, then they'll contact you and let you know. So there are a few places that will do that. They'll watch that for you. Usually through credit unions. Equifax does it, and I've got it set up through Equifax. But, so, yeah, there's a few of them, and they're safe.
I read an article, I think it was Consumer Report, that rated these different companies, and there was a number of them. One that stood out to me was the Discover cards.
Mm-hmm.
10 or 15 bucks a month.
Yeah, there's yeah, they used to advertise it on TV. And I
Yeah.
don't
Next
know.
one,
And a semi-trailer with a social security number on it.
Yeah,
Can't remember
but
that.
they protect it. They charge you a monthly fee to do it. But yeah, there's a few of them that are out there that'll do that.
I know that I'm watching some stuff on Facebook. The police, if they pull you over, ask you for your information, they'll ask for a phone number, and sometimes they'll ask you for your social security number. You do not have to give it to them.
Police should never ask you for your social
They
security number.
do. They do.
You don't have to provide it.
it's called LifeLock.
LifeLock, that was the other one.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is, you don't have to give it to them.
Right.
Yeah, there's one now that they claim they can take your house, I suppose they can.
Oh, yeah, title companies.
Title.
Yeah.
Titles.
Yeah, if it's, there's a lot of suspicious stuff that's out there, and like I said earlier, is that the scammers are getting more and more intelligent. Unfortunately, Nancy, I think, said something about you call someplace in India, it's an India call center. They don't like the scammers any more than we do, because they make them look bad. A lot of companies will outsource their call centers. In fact, I called the IRS one time, and they went to India call center. If you get India call center like that, and if you call someplace, you can always ask for a U.S. call center. They will transfer you. So if you just say, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time understanding, can you transfer me to a U.S. call center? And most of them will do it without any problem. Cheap labor, that's the reason they do it.
Yeah.
Anybody else? My wife's saying, cut it short.
No, you're now in.
That's where I was going. All right, well, if you guys have any other questions, think of anything else, you know where I live, so. All right, thanks for coming.